In this episode, the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix. We talk about the new Mclaren Artura GT4 race car, and then the upcoming 24 Hours of Spa. Welcome to episode 81 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rell, have you been watching our boys, the Lightning?
I have.
How's it been going?
They took that 7-0 loss personally and came back and scored 6 goals the very next game.
They did. There is an unwritten rule in hockey, though, where if you're up by 4 or 5 goals, do you put on your first line and just keep on ripping goals?
No.
They did that.
Yes, they did.
Oof.
Then they realized they have mediocre goaltending.
They do. And I suspect that that might be the downfall of them, but they are in the lead. This is the Avalanche and the Lightning that we're talking about in the Stanley Cup Finals.
But shall we move on to some racing?
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
There was an F1 race that happened this past weekend.
Yes, there was.
Did you happen to see it?
I saw about 10 laps of it, just briefly. I was busy on Sunday.
It is in your second most favorite country in the world.
Uzbekistan?
Yes. No, it was in Canada.
Yes.
And I figure America's your first. Not 100% on that.
It is.
Okay, good. Good.
For sure. America. Number 1, baby.
And then you got the top hat, and that's where F1 was. So, here's what happened at the F1 Grand Prix.
Yes.
North of the border.
The Canadian Grand Prix.
There was a lot of rain. Actually, during qualifying and practices, it was all wet. Everything was wet. Which makes for some fun racing to watch. But that's not what happened on race day.
Bummer.
Because race day was dry. But before we got to race day, Leclerc in the Ferrari had some issues.
Eesh.
They had to swap out a power unit, which is engine and turbo. And that puts you to the back of the grid.
That's a bummer.
So he started from the back of the grid. Remember, he was second in the points. And third. Because it was Red Bull, then him.
Yep.
Right? So, going into this, we expected to see Red Bull do well. Indeed, Red Bull did do well in qualifying. I believe Verstappen took pole. And I think that the other Ferrari was on the front row with him. But after the race started, the other Red Bull, Sergio Perez, had issues. Yeah. He had his gearbox get stuck in a really high gear and had to retire the car. That's unfortunate.
That sucks.
Leclerc was able to run back through the field and get all the way up to, I think it was 6th or something like that. 5th or 6th, which was pretty good. But there was a specific situation where Yuki Tsunoda crashed coming out because he had cold tires coming out of the pit road. And this was around 20-ish laps remaining. And that set up a very interesting idea in my head where I said, I think F1 should throw a safety car every time there's 20 laps remaining in the race, and this would be really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, just like a reset.
Please F1. I don't care if it's I think that they should take the back half of the race and randomly insert a safety car. Because if you always told the teams it would be at this time, they would strategize around it, and I want to see them have to sort it out.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that they should do that. And they should do it now, this season.
I like where your head's at, but I doubt they're going to listen to you.
There's no way, but it'd be amazing. And it would make for very good entertainment. Could you imagine 2 laps remaining? That's the time they throw the safety car.
Poof.
Here we go.
And
we got a 5-lap run to the flag. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Even if it's 30 laps remaining, that's fine. But the current era of F1 has been 2 cars pull away by nearly a lap. And it's somewhat boring to watch at the end. So pack them all back up. That's what makes for good racing.
Yep.
Anyway, that's not quite how it went. I will say that Verstappen in the Red Bull did pull away after the Yuki Tsunoda crash and the safety car shenanigans. But the other Ferrari, what's the other Ferraris?
Carlos Sainz.
Sainz. He did chase down Verstappen. And only, I think by the end of the race, he was only a second or 2 away.
He was just less than a second behind Verstappen.
So it was boiling to a point where Verstappen was able to hold him off. And it was entertaining to watch, but nothing super big happened in the points.
So that put both Ferraris in points, one Ferrari high on the points. Because Leclerc was 5th, which is halfway decent in points, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a first, it's second.
Nope. So what does that end up putting to the standings now for the championship?
The driver standings, not the constructor. The driver standings. That puts Max Verstappen in the lead with 175.
Okay.
That puts Sergio Perez, his teammate, in second with 129. And Leclerc just behind Perez in third with 126. He's 3 points only behind Sergio Perez.
Okay.
Followed by George Russell in the Mercedes with 111. And then Carlos Sainz, the other Ferrari, at 102. And then almost 30 points back is then Hamilton in 6th.
Interesting. So Lewis did do well this race. For this year's Lewis standards, he did well.
Is this
last
his
year
first podium of the year?
He did. He took third. It was the first podium. And the driver assistant or who, some lady that's always with him, has blonde hair, pretty short. Don't know her name. She said before the race started, if he gets a podium, that she would jump in the river.
Yeah.
And he pushed her in the river right after, which I thought was pretty cool. So Mercedes did do well. They took third, fourth, I believe, in the results, which is good for them. And it was Lewis over Russell, which is interesting because if Mercedes...
First time this whole season Lewis has been over Russell.
Right. And if Mercedes wanted to get the most championship points for their leading driver, they would have swapped them, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to believe they know they don't have a shot at the championship. They're just not going to stir the pot with Lewis and George yet, and they're going to let them race.
Good word there at the end. Yet.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yet.
I guarantee you by next year, the pot will be stirred. Overall, a kind of entertaining race because there was a safety car with 20 laps remaining, and that grouped everybody back up. Please implement a safety car in the back half of the race randomly. It would be for entertainment purposes. Not a lot, but SRX does this, and I think it's amazing.
Yes. Real quick, the constructor standings.
Okay.
We got Red Bull in the lead, 304. Then we got Ferrari in second with 228. Oof. And Mercedes in third with 188.
Ooh.
So big gaps between everyone until you start getting fourth, fifth, and then sixth. You want to know how far back the McLaren team is from Mercedes?
They haven't been doing fantastic.
So Mercedes is in third place in constructor standings with 188 points. McLaren, fourth place, 65 points. Over 120 point difference.
Yeah. The way that F1 points are laid out, I think is terrible. Mm-hmm. Because it's 25 for a win and 1 point for 10th place. And it's evenly, it's top heavy distributed throughout the rest.
Yeah. Descending, right?
Yes. I don't like that point setup at all, but that's just me.
What if it was 10 for first and 1 for 10th? That's
fine, but it's overemphasizing the win right now. In the way that F1 is working, you're never going to have a close championship because there's only two teams that are up top right now. And unless it's the battle between those two teams, it's just going to be boring.
I wish they would weight the points 1 through 10, 10 through 1.
Yeah.
That would be way better.
There are advantages and disadvantages to doing it that way versus the other way, but it's lending for kind of boring championship situation. You can see that Max Verstappen's way ahead and the Red Bull is way ahead in the championship for the manufacturer. It is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Overall, kind of entertaining. Kind of.
Yes, Formula kind of entertaining.
So, there's some other news that I want to chat about.
Okay.
There has been a new car announced from McLaren.
Oh.
And I believe that you say this, a McLaren Artura?
Artura. Yes.
Okay. So they launched their new Artura GT4 car.
Yes.
First, let me get your opinion on the looks.
It's a 570 with droopier eyes.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
Looks exactly like a 570.
So this is replacing the 570.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a GT4 car, not a
Mhm.
GT3 car. And they're racing the 720 in GT3
Yes, and the 570 and GT4.
and the 570 in GT4. Okay,
Yep. So it looks exactly like the car they're replacing.
it does. It looks very similar. Some small changes though. Okay, this is featuring a new compact twin-turbo V6 engine with
Okay.
weight-optimized setup that's making it 100 kilograms lighter. Now,
Good for that.
the road car is a hybrid
Mm-hmm.
for this car.
Yep.
SRO GT4 rules do not permit such tech, allowing for further weight savings.
Oop.
What do you think about that?
I wish they would have made the race car the road car.
I agree. This is a GT4 car. This should be as close to the road car as you can get while being a GT race car.
I wish they wouldn't made it a hybrid for the road.
But that's not the situation we're in.
So I actually wish that, not just because I don't like electricity
Mhm.
and because I think that it's just not the answer, but because of engineering issues.
Why?
So we actually talked about the Artura on maybe our first ever episode.
I think.
I
We might
think it
have.
was literally like episode 1 or 2.
Okay.
And it was launched, well, I guess revealed the same time that Porsche revealed the GT3.
Oh.
We have never seen one yet because they're not even close to being delivered. Not even by
Oh.
a country mile.
Oof.
And the GT3, I've now seen a number of the new 992 GT3s.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that if they would have used this race-derived twin-turbo V6 versus trying to, from the ground up, develop this fancy new hybrid, we could have seen this car already.
From a manufacturing perspective, I agree.
So it's not just because I hate electricity, but I genuinely think if they would have put that twin-turbo V6 in that they're putting in the Artura GT4 race car in the Artura road car, we could see a Cars and Coffee this month, but we won't.
No, we probably won't. But I guess the problem that I have is this car is supposed to be as close to the road car as possible. But if you rip out the hybrid system, you are immediately not very close to the road car.
Yes.
Yeah. So what let me ask you this. What is the point of GT4? As far as I understand it, GT4 should be the road car, cost effective, and not nearly the money as GT3.
I envision GT4 being the closest to the road car you can get.
Right.
The closest. Like
Yes.
GT3, way upgraded aero. The GT4, a little bit of upgraded aero.
It should be the safety features that you need for racing, and the rest as close to the road car as possible.
Yep.
The same. You can even keep the same suspension setup. I know that some hot hatches are doing that.
Yeah.
Like the Hyundai Elantra IMSA car is basically the Hyundai Elantra with safety features.
Yeah.
You look at the MX-5 Cup. Sure, it's not GT4, but it's not that far off, and it's exactly that. This car is getting a 7-speed gearbox that offers increased downforce as well.
Wait, what?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. The Artura features a 7-speed gearbox and offers increased downforce compared to the 720S,
Wait,
particularly at the front
compared
end.
to the 720S?
570S, sorry. 570S.
McLaren's numbering is not very good.
It's not, but I also read it wrong.
Oh.
And it also features a bespoke splitter.
Okay.
So this car is inching closer to GT3.
It is.
Very slowly, but it is. There's
It's
also
like GT 3.5.
right suspension and handling enhancements with the front wheel width increased as well to produce more grip and less tire degradation. Limited slip diff to increase grip and performance and serviceability.
It's GT 3.5 car.
Yes. From what I've heard, this car is going to be more expensive than it was in the previous generation too. This is silly. Why? Why do this?
It's dumb.
I
dumb.
agree.
It's dumb.
It looks
McLaren,
cool.
What are you doing?
It looks like a great race car, but
It looks, no offense, it looks no different than the current 570.
no.
Let me quickly find you a picture of the current McLaren 570.
Yeah. As they inch closer, I feel like they're getting away from the roots of it being a GT4 car. And that is a problem considering every new and current race series is moving toward a GT3 spec for the race cars. Why are you making a GT 3.5? Just keep it simple. They're not keeping it simple. They're overcomplicating, which is unfortunate.
Yes, I quickly found a picture of the current car. What is the difference? Control C, Control V.
There is not.
I'm sorry, there's nothing different.
There's more arrow, honestly. That's it. Yeah,
Tell me that doesn't look almost exactly the same with droopier eyes.
it does. I agree. But if it's going to be more expensive and going to have the new fancy tech to make it a half a second faster on the racetrack, people are going to have to buy it if you want to stay competitive in that class. But you're getting away from the roots of the whole point here.
Yeah,
So
it's dumb.
it seems silly. It seems very silly.
Yep, agree.
All right, let's move on from something silly to something that might be really entertaining.
Ooh, what you got?
Did you know that this year, or coming up here, is the 24 hours of, what have we not seen so far? We've seen Daytona.
Le Mans, Nürburgring, Daytona, Spa.
That's it. So we got the entry list for the Spa 24.
Sweet.
Now, this has 65 cars in it.
Sheesh.
That's a lot of cars.
Let's go.
And I'm going to break them down by manufacturer for you real quick.
Okay.
So Aston Martin has 3. Audi with their R8 has 12. Bentley with the boat that is the Continental has 1, which is unfortunate.
I like the Bentley Continental race car.
Yeah.
It is
cool.
such a big hippopotamus, and it makes such a deep noise.
The grumble that
It's
it
like a
makes.
British Corvette
It is
on the
British
track.
Corvette. Yeah. You're right.
Love that car.
You're right. BMW with the big giant snout nose
Yes.
is bringing 5.
Okay.
Ferrari, straight from Italy, is bringing 5.
Okay.
Lamborghini bringing 9.
Ooh.
We have the McLaren, the 720S, not the car we just looked at, is bringing 4. Then we have Mercedes and Porsche. The Germans are bringing the most at 13 each.
It's a very German. So, of the Germans, Porsche's bringing 13 cars, Mercedes bringing 13 cars, Audi's bringing 12 cars, and BMW's bringing 5 cars.
A lot of German race cars.
German heavy.
And then some Italians, and then some Brits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, no Corvettes, unfortunate, but
But Corvettes aren't GT3 spec.
they're not yet.
They will be.
Yes, that's the key. They will be. And from what I've heard, they are going to start selling these to customer racing teams.
I remember we chatted briefly about that a long time ago when they rumored about doing it back when the FIA and IMSA were deciding to go GT3 spec versus GTE or GTLM spec.
Mm-hmm.
So, woohoo, more manufacturers. Let's go.
Right. I hope that we'll see those at Nürburgring, the 24 there. We should see them at Spa maybe next year, maybe the year after. We'll see, depending on how quickly they can get customer cars out.
You want to know where I hope we'll see them?
Where?
Bathurst.
Yeah.
Because you know what is an actual brawl in Australia? Ford versus Chevy.
Oh, because they have the V8 supercars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
That's
the
right.
fights and the brawls that'll happen at Bathurst when Chevys are competing there.
That's right.
It'll
You're
just
right.
it will be on fire, I think. The whole mountain will go up in flames.
I think you're right.
It'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
There's an interesting graphic to the side of this little article here. It says motorsports travel and tickets, and they list off a whole bunch of very iconic races. And they have the Le Mans Classic, the Bathurst 12, the Le Mans 24, the Rolex 24 at Daytona, which is right in our backyard, the Sebring 12 Hours right in our backyard, and then the Spa 24.
Yeah.
Crazy that we can go to 2 of the
big
6 endurance classics.
The bigs.
And we're within 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of 2 of those races.
And if you think about it, if we really wanted to, if we wanted to be a little more maintenance heavy in our cars, we could go drive them.
We could. We probably should.
I want to take my Volkswagen on track.
Do you think you would beat the BRZ
Yes.
on track?
Maybe.
Might be a good.
I'd love to get lap times.
Yeah.
I need better tires, though.
Because when we did our little BMW driving experience, I was able to hustle you.
Yes, but I was driving like a heffalump.
Yes. Has that changed?
Maybe.
Okay.
I may be able to get a little more finesse
Okay.
and not just all forearm strength.
You were just plow it in
Just-
there.
Turn in now.
Way too much wheel. But this race, this 24 hours at Spa, should be going on July 30th. So they're doing testing, I believe, this week and this weekend. And then not the end of this month, but the end of next month will be the actual race.
Speaking of this weekend, you know what's coming up?
What?
The Glen.
Ooh, that's right. IMSA is at the 6 hours of the Glen.
Yes, IMSA is at Watkins Glen, the Salen's 6 hours of the Glen.
Hell yeah. That'd be cool.
Stoked for that.
Yeah. That's always a good event.
Mm-hmm.
That track has a lot of flow to it.
Very.
Yeah.
Very
Good
flowy.
elevation, good corners to push the car through,
Mm-hmm.
and a grippy track.
Yep.
It's a cool track.
For sure. For sure. All right. So that's all I got for racing. You got anything?
I think we're good, bud.
All right. Well, then, thanks so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up and drop a comment on the video, as well as hit that subscribe button. Would love that. If you're listening on audio, leave us a 5-star rating and a review, please. And thank you. We'd be so grateful on your platform of choice. Don't forget to follow us on social. Instagram is weareauto_. Facebook is weareauto. YouTube is weareauto. And our website is weareauto.io. So thanks again so much. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.